All right. Welcome to AJ's Takeaways. And today I am sharing my takeaways from the book Parenting by Andy and Sandra Stanley. And Andy Stanley is one of my favorite pastors in the whole world. But it was also awesome to hear from his wife. I had not learned much about Sandra's story, so that was really cool, but that's not why we're here today. We're here to learn about the takeaways. So here's the gist of this book. I don't actually read a lot of parenting books because I feel like they're very trite and trendy, and that's not what this is. And it's really good. It's actually the first parenting book that I've read cover to cover, and like it's had its ringer, but it's like you can go through this and look at all of the earmarks that I have here and underlines, and it's like this has been more of like a workbook for me over the last month. And my biggest takeaway is something that the whole book is about. It's the whole premise of the book, which is what makes a great book. It's parenting with the long game in mind. My words, not theirs, but it's this idea of, do you know what the outcome that you want to see from your parenting years, right? Because although we're parents for a lifetime, we have a relatively short amount of time, roughly 18 to 21 years, I guess, depending on all of our situations. But at some point, they will leave the nest. But way earlier than when they leave the home, you lose influence. And that happens sooner than you realize. And I have a 4 and a 6-year-old right now, and I can already see that, at least with my 6-year-old, it's like my influence is waning in some areas because he heard this from his teacher at school, or he heard this from his best friend, or heard this from his cousin, or heard this from whatever, saw it on Paw Patrol. And all of a sudden, it's like, it's not just me and Rory anymore. Like, there's all these other influences. And so how do I parent with this long game in mind? And then the question is like, what's the long game for you? Like, what is the goal of your parenting years? And my goal just happens to line up with the goal of this book. And I have always said that as a mom, my biggest dream, my biggest hope, my biggest desire is that when my kids are older and grown and gone, they still want to hang out with me. That's my biggest goal, is that I want a relationship with my kids when they no longer have to have one with me. That is why I started this book. And this is a pivotal time, at least in my parenting journey with my 6-year-old, of going, I am entering into a new phase of parenting where it's not just about, don't put that in your mouth, don't do that, that's a choke hazard. It's more about training, and training, like how we do certain things, and how to think for yourself, and how to make decisions, and how to know what's right and wrong. It's no longer me just like, don't do this, do this, don't do this, or me doing it for him. It's like, it's a whole new era. And this was a really important book for this transitional time. In their world, this is right from ages 6 to 10, right? Those are the training years, is what they call them. And and it's not just for that, it's also for me setting the pace now for my 4-year-old, and having the tools and feeling I'm equipped to make changes now that will stick for a lifetime. And so these are a couple of things that really stuck out to me. I think that it's really important with this whole idea of, how do you parent with the long game in mind, right? And what is the long game for you? And in this case, it was helpful to define. It's like, my long game is, I want my parents to still come to me. I want them to want to come home for the holidays, to have, conversation. I want them to call me. I want them to go, my mom, my dad, they're people that I talk to because I trust them. I see them as people who speak wisdom and truth in my life. They're fun. They're funny. They're people I enjoy being with. I want to start that now, because if I don't start it now, they won't think it later. So I got work to do. And here's what a couple of the things. It's like, these are really big, in my opinion. The first one was, have few rules, but make the rules that you have an all-encompassing part of your household and your life. So a rule is not necessarily make your bed, but a rule instead is, hey, we respect the things in our home, right? That's a more all-encompassing rule, where it's like, if you respect the things in your home, well, then you pick up after yourself, and you do your chores without being asked, or without being expected to make money. It's like, no, you don't get paid to do chores. You're a part of this family. So it's picking fewer rules per se, but making them more all inclusive that extend outside of something so micro, like clean your room. It's like, no, respect the things in your home, respect your home. I'm not saying that was one of ours. I'm just thinking through like these things that make a pivotal difference. It's like, I'll tell you the thing about having lots of rules. It's hard for me as a parent to remember them. And if I have lots of reasons why I discipline my kids or they get in trouble, it's like, I forget. Like, I don't know about you guys. It's like, I'm like constantly like, Rory, like, what did we say the consequence was if they did that? And it's like, it doesn't really work for us. And then it makes us look unstable, unreliable. And then our kids manipulate that like this. Like, don't be confused. Our kids are little manipulators. They know how to do it and they know how to do it early. They did not come out honest little beings. They came out little liars. Like, I didn't have to teach my kids how to lie. They just know how to lie. What I have to teach them is how to be honest, because being honest is hard, because that means you have to admit when you're wrong and apologize when things don't go right, which would probably be the second biggest thing that I learned from this book, is teaching my kids a healthy way to apologize in a way that restores the relationship. And it has been amazing to me over about a 3-week period that all of a sudden I hear my kids hurt each other, or, whatever they're doing, who knows what they're doing, mainly hurting each other. And I will hear my 4-year-old go, Jasper, I am sorry for punching you. What can I do to make it right? And that it's like a simple formula. It's like, I have to say, Jasper, I need to apologize, but I have to know what I'm apologizing for. So just say, hey, tell your brother you're sorry. That was me a month ago. But now it's like they're recognizing, oh, that thing, that was the wrong that I did to you. I'm sorry. What can I do to make it right? In other words, what can I do to restore the relationship? And this has been so helpful, not just in my parenting journey, not just watching my kids in my adult journey of going, oh, I need to know when I apologize to my husband that I recognize what I did, and that I go, what can I do to restore this? Like, what can I do to restore our relationship? What can I do to make it right? So this is a parenting book, but it's also a friendship book, a relationship book, and a marriage book. So those are tiny micro examples of this. There are dozens upon dozens of ideas and tools, and I would just say things that I've already implemented in our home, rhythms that are so important. Like, we do dinner together, the end. No phones, we do dinner, right? We have a no screen time rule in our policy. Through the week, we do movies together on the weekend. No screen times at dinner, prayers at bedtime, learning how to pray on your own, not just following our prayers, and watching my kids develop that skill has been so awesome. Like hearing their little prayers and teaching them how to apologize, and setting fewer rules that are more all encompassing, that will go for a lifetime. The rules that we're setting in place now aren't ones that'll change at every different age group. These are lifetime rules, of helping them respect themselves, respect their peers, respect others, just respect humanity. These are things that will go for a lifetime, because you're parenting for the long game in mind. So my suggestion is, if you have kids, and I'm going to just say ages 4 and forever, right? But maybe 4 through 18, this is a must read, regardless of your religious background or your faith background. This is a must read, because it's for the parent to help you go, do you want a relationship with your kids when they no longer have to have one with you? And if so, this is a book that you have to read. So pick it up, check it out, and let me know what you think.